All right, Gears of War Reloaded review update. There's been a lot of talk about this game since it dropped. We're gonna see what's all the hoo-ha about.
This is Mark Medina reading for Miranda Sanchez. The original 2006 Gears of War is
Nature's
the
Nectar.
classic
If you
case
know, you
of
know.
Don't
All
judge a
these.
book by its cover. This seemingly meat-headed, bro-forward game has cemented itself as not only one of the best third-person cover shooter series with its iconic gameplay and weapons, but also one that shrugs at its stereotypes to both embrace them, when was the last time you heard someone called a dickwad, and defy them with great storytelling and fantastic voice acting.
I don't hang out, dickwad. I'm looking for somebody.
Shut up, Bear. Keep moving.
What? What'd I say?
10 years after its first makeover,
call him a
it's
dickwad.
gotten another with Gears of War
A lot of
Reloaded.
dicks.
Unlike some games that get the premature remaster treatment a few years after their release, this one looks and feels like a noticeable improvement. As we've come to expect from Xbox Game Studios developer The Coalition, the PS5 and Steam crowds are welcome to the first game in this iconic series with gorgeous modern graphics and frame rates, and no more waiting around for loading screens. Before we get into the details of Reloaded, here's what IGN said about Gears of War's first remaster from 2015.
What made Gears great almost 10 years ago still makes Gears great today. It's a beautiful game with smart cover mechanics, great core combat, and commitment to an over-the-top tone. It occasionally shows signs of age, but those moments are rare enough that you'll barely remember you're playing a remaster.
From playing about 7 hours, Miranda can say that the glowing review of Gears of War Ultimate Edition and its few faults still stand true with Reloaded. The story begins by throwing you into the thick of a losing war. Things go from
I mean, you can't really speak too much on the story unless they remade the game and retcon certain stuff, like the RE4 remake they kind of not that they retcon, like they kind of switched some stuff up, and added some stuff to it.
shit to shittier for Marcus Fenix and his crew as they try to accomplish one task that spirals out of control. And while that may not be fun for them, it sure is exciting to play for us, especially with the technical updates. Here are the highlights. Reloaded plays in 4K with up to 120Hz output if you have the screen for it.
Okay.
The 60 FPS is a nice upgrade on consoles for the campaign that previously only went up to 30 FPS at its launch and 60 FPS with the Series X performance boost, and 120 FPS in multiplayer is equally welcome. There are more options to change up controls, audio, and more in Reloaded than what was in Ultimate Edition. The 2015 Gears of War Ultimate Edition did a great job upgrading the notoriously drab look of the Xbox 360 original with color adjustments, lifting the muddy gray and brown fog from the planet Sarah. Reloaded.
Yeah, see, I was saying that before. Like everything back then in the 360 era, it was either gray, green, or brown. Everything, bro, everything. So I'm glad they refined the color palette for this.
Takes that a step further with an even more lively color palette and better lighting that resembles what we saw in Gears 5. The uplifted style.
Yeah, Gears 5 was impressive.
Impressive looking game. During a chainsaw kill, and the blue skies clouded by smoke and dust look nice too. The Coalition added extra detail to the environment as well, like additional paintings in legal buildings, dense bookshelves, fridges with rotted food, more corpses, and other fitting decor. It's still mighty odd seeing the Xbox Game Studios logo on the screen while Miranda held a DualSense, but she can only say that the showing of exclusivity lines hasn't hurt Gears of War one bit. If anything, it's made a strong case for her to do a co-op run on PlayStation 5. The core of Reloaded is the same between all three platforms, but the DualSense adds a twist with the adaptive triggers and any comms done through the radio output through the controller speaker. It was a neat surprise having dialogue and sound effects, like hitting the perfect active reload, presented this way. That being said, the adaptive triggers can be off-putting in some situations, like when hopping on a troika where the triggers feel like they're on max resistance for firing the turret, or when driving a vehicle. So she could see them being unwelcome to some. She got tired of it in the second act during a long driving section, so she did turn off the adaptive triggers for a bit.
Yeah, you could turn it off. That's the thing. You could turn it off if you want to. Me personally, it don't really bother me. I was just playing Astrobot last night, on stream, and there's certain parts where the trigger resistance is a little more heavier, but I didn't really care about it. Like, if it's not like something that's like a fighting game, like I wouldn't want that for a fighting game. I don't think I would want that for a shooting game either. Like if I'm playing online competitively. But for story mode games, it don't really bother me like that.
Another aspect of Gears that's evolved over time is the heavy screen shake with the roadie run. It's less pronounced in other Gears games that have come along since, but the Coalition kept the exaggerated effect for Reloaded by default. She appreciated its unique touch and that the shakiness encourages tactical use. Running around an encounter isn't the way to play Reloaded, and if you do, you'll likely be punished for it.
Yeah, you'll get
Instead,
chopped.
you'll
You'll
want to
get
run
chopped
and
up.
bounce between cover, keeping yourself protected from the onslaught of enemy fire. If you don't like the screen shake, though, it can be turned off. So it's good to have options.
It's a nice little quality of life
The
feature.
cool
I like that.
additions are also joined by some minor bugs that Miranda saw in her roughly 6 hours she played on PS5. There was some weirdness in checkpoints, jumping her forward and facing a different way. Characters' voices would drop for a line randomly, and she saw some enemies get stuck in between cover. These bugs...
I noticed he's speaking in third person, like he's speaking about the person that played it. I wonder why Miranda herself didn't do it. Maybe she's not like a strong speaker, so they had this other guy talk for her. I don't know.
have appeared infrequently and weren't too bothersome.
Because usually the person that played it is the person that does these videos, these voiceover videos.
Though, and are probably nothing a patch or two won't fix. She didn't see these happen too much during her time with the Xbox version, but just because she didn't see them doesn't mean they aren't there. Bugs are tricky like that. The one actively annoying gameplay issue she came across was how incompetent and overall wonky her AI companions were on the hardcore difficulty level, which is a noticeable downgrade from how they performed in Ultimate Edition. In Reloaded, they go down constantly, whereas Ultimate Edition, they still went down occasionally, but seem to be helping more.
They could
Hardcore
patch
is
that,
only
though.
a step above normal and below insane, so she expected that they should be able to hold their own at least a little bit. She noticed Dom waltzing into the dark and dying to a lurking Krill that shredded him in seconds in one mission. And every now and then, Dom or the other two companions, Cole and Baird, would get stuck far behind, unwilling to leave a doorway. We all love the Delta Squad, but it's not worth reviving them every encounter only to put yourself in danger. Gears of War Reloaded includes a nice extra section, which is something you'd want to see in a remaster like this to reward returning fans who are buying the game for the second or third time, though it's worth noting that the owners of the original get Reloaded for free. What will interest most folks in the extra section are the 5 different issues of the Gears of War comic. Grabbing the collectible cog tags throughout the campaign unlocks pages in 5 different issues of the Gears of War comic, which is a nice reward for those who haven't read them.
That's
this
dope.
was
I haven't read
in
them.
the Ultimate Edition, and it's a welcome return. Completing acts of the campaign also unlocks neat concept art. And while the multiple sets of credits may not be what someone who's new to the game series cares about, for people like Miranda, seeing the credits available for Reloaded, Ultimate Edition, and the original are in line with Gears' respect for teamwork. Multiplayer hasn't changed in terms of what content is included between Ultimate Edition and Reloaded, though the Coalition upgraded the 60Hz dedicated servers, opposed to the 30Hz we've had in previous versions. The maps got the remaster treatment as well, with better lighting, visual effects, and best of all, an upgrade to 120 FPS on consoles. PC players also get a 240 FPS option. She expects weapon tuning to be in flux after launch.
Like, I wonder if that's like frame generation. Is that like AI, or is that like you getting raw frames? I don't know. Because, you know, these days it's a lot about NVIDIA, you know, kind of dominates the processor market, especially for consoles. So I don't know if it's going to be, if it's some AI shit going on with that. I hope it's like a raw 240 and a raw 120 frames. Like I know, I mean, but you really can't tell a difference anyway unless you look at Digital Foundry videos, and then you can see like the ghosting and shit like that.
Coalition has already noted it's making some improvements to the Nasher, making perfect active reload damage fixed, and more tweaks based on feedback from the previous beta. If this is your first time playing Gears of War, she recommends finding a friend to join you. The Gears of War teams have always designed these games with a partner in mind. And
True.
as was previously mentioned, the AI doesn't
The AI is
really
ass.
on the higher difficulty levels. The Coalition thankfully maintained the option to play reloaded couch co-op, which we don't see enough of these days. And of
Right.
course, you've also got the option of online crossplay if your co-op buddy is on another system. She's still undecided on whether or not she wants to spend the next co-op replay on Xbox or PS5 or bounce between them, thanks to cross progression, but she's excited to dive back in either way. For more on Gears of War Reloaded, check out the first 21 minutes of gameplay and a guide video on all 33 cog tag locations. And of course, for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
Yeah, I want them comic books, so I'm definitely going to look at this video, the cog tag locations. Yeah, so that's hold on. That's Gears of War, y'all. That is Gears of War. This game looks, I'm liking the update. Hold on. Let me do my little clip farm. So the Gears of War Reloaded update. They said that the AI is not as good as the Ultimate Edition that dropped in 2015, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like the Gears AI was always ass anyway. I'm not gonna lie. Like every time I played, like if I wasn't playing with my friends, I was getting my ass handed to me, and I constantly had to pick up my teammates. Sometimes they'll put in work, but then a lot of times, most of the time, they're getting wrecked. But I do like the graphical upgrade though. They have a 120 hertz mode, and they have a 240 hertz mode if you have it on PC. It's just crazy to see, and it's also crazy to see like the PlayStation logo and the PlayStation buttons pop up when you're playing a Gears of War game. Man, that is crazy. If you would have told me some years ago that this would have happened, I'd have called you crazy. But I'm glad this console war shit is over. This is just gonna bring all gamers together. All right, so y'all let me know how y'all feel down in the comments, right? So you already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.